The great part about this museum is that this museum covers the people that did these things. And right here in Columbus, we got our heroes that are fantastic bunch of heroes. And we got a lot of stuff from these people in here, including Paul Tibbets. And General Tibbets was the man who dropped the first atomic bomb. And Paul was actually my first board member. Once I started the museum, I went to him and asked him if he would be on my board, and he looked me right in the face and says, "I don't belong to nothing, but for you, I'll do it." And he told me that he would be my board member, and with that started the whole thing. I've got 740 members in 50 states, Belgium, Germany, England, Canada, and Holland, and they're the ones that help make this thing go. The World War II guys went off to war, come back, and went to work, and didn't much think about it until they retired, and then all that stuff starts coming back to them. And same with the Vietnam boys. When they see what I'm doing and realize that I really care about this stuff, I mean, every piece in here is extremely important to me. And every piece in here, I put in here myself, and I do it alone at night. Another interesting person we have in this museum and his entire collection is Robert Richards' stuff. And Robert was the one who actually gave us the building and 4 acres of land. He saw the vision I had, and these are some of the items he brought back. He was a counterintelligence agent in World War II. He was a spy, spoke 7 different languages, could be anything he wanted. He liberated the Eagle's Nest, and when he did, with 2 other agents, they were looking for booby traps. They didn't find any, went up to Hitler's chair and cut the bottom of Hitler's seat out. And they actually made 3 billfolds out of the seat out of Hitler's chair. My original interest in military history was the Civil War. And I collected an extensive collection of Civil War artifacts. Probably the most significant piece in the whole collection is this flag of the 17th Pennsylvania Cavalry. And it was attached to the 5th Corps, and that's the symbol that you see in the middle. The 17th Pennsylvania Cavalry was in the middle of Pickett's charge. On July the 3rd, 1863, 12,500 Confederates come across this field, heading for a clump of trees called the Angle, and in the Angle was this unit. Only 150 Confederates made it into that angle. All 150 of them were killed, captured, or wounded. And when the battle was over, they found that flag under the bodies of Pickett's charge. Another real rare piece we have in the museum is a life mask of Abraham Lincoln. This was made by Volk. It's signed on the back and dated 1860. We have an exact replica of Captain Eddie Rickenbacker's boyhood home. Eddie became a race car driver, and when he was a race car driver before World War I, he was making $60,000 a year as a race car driver before World War I. Then they sent him to Europe, and he became the driver for the officers, yet he scared everybody to death and nobody wanted to ride with him. And that's how come he ended up in aircraft. He wanted to be a pilot. Yeah, this is a bust of Captain Eddie Rickenbacker. This was in Eddie Rickenbacker's office when he was the CEO of Eastern Airlines. And Eddie didn't like it though. He said his eyebrows were way too bushy. That's Harold Sawyer. He was one of the original Tuskegee Airmen. And Harold was a fantastic guy. He was on my board for years as well. Harold ended up going to Italy. He shot down a German aircraft, and there's a picture of him inside the cockpit right there. And he was just a wonderful man to know. And for what he did, he was just really a fantastic individual and smart as can be. And he lived right here in Columbus. This is actually the beginning of our Holocaust exhibit. We have in storage the 2nd biggest collection in the United States, 6th in the world. Once you see it, it's got a whole bunch of really unbelievable items that have been collected by a man in Kentucky who was a liberator of the Dachau Nazi concentration camp. And this is a letter which is a confession of a camp commander of a Nazi concentration camp. And on his deathbed, he wrote that, and it's a pretty powerful thing. Okay, you're going to look at the biggest collection outside Ground Zero of 9/11 artifacts. You're looking at Ladder 18's fire truck from the Fort Pitt Fire Station in Lower Manhattan. During the 9/11 attack, this fire unit responded. The driver told me he pulled up out of a tunnel, looked up, and the second plane had just hit. He pulled this in next to the North Tower and parked it under a walkway. This entire crew went right up to the fire, and they were bringing people down. And the entire North Tower collapsed on top of this truck. When you look at that and realize that there was just enough room for those guys underneath this truck, and that saved their lives. It settled itself right down in there, and the only reason the cab's not crushed is because of the fact that it was parked under that walkway. There was a video of them extracting this truck, which is wonderful because it actually proves that this truck was there. It's unbelievable. I mean, the way this thing has grown, and I can't hardly believe it myself because it just continues to go. And it's got a life of its own. but we're going places, and I love it.